It's finally time to examine the Twilight Saga Eclipse, which is the third in a series of films that began by introducing us to an unusually magical cast of characters, who at the time at least seemed vaguely self-aware of the genre movie they were in, but who now seem to have applied that same vague sense of awareness to pretty much every aspect of the franchise. Everyone is just sort of like, I'm here, walking through the forest, and I know you're sad because of my wolf telepathy? Yup, that hits all of the bullet points Stephenie Meyer wrote down for us. Can someone photocopy this used napkin? It's all we have for a script. And believe me, with Twilight Eclipse, that crusty cocktail napkin is all we have for a finished movie as well. So take your iron supplements and prepare for the demon baby inside of you, because we're supposed to relate to this story through the character of Bella Swan, aka the idiot making dumb decisions that you'll never agree with, as she plans to blissfully abandon her friends and family for an eternity of known suffering, despite receiving many warnings against it. But don't worry, because if all of that sounds stale, then you haven't seen this movie's fight choreography yet, along with countless other incidents of shoddy CGI, cringeworthy dialogue, and problematic insinuations in this Confederate Army of Newborn Vampires installment of Clip Breakdown. Hello television viewers, my name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another installment of Clip Breakdown. This is the playlist where we dive into our favorite movies, TV movies, and other such content here on the interweb, and we break it apart like a vampire who literally shatters like a fragile ornament now. And that way we can look at each individual clip and decide if something is imprinting on us, which is werewolf love, or if it's just emotionally abusing us, which is vampire love. And mama, you better know we got a big mouthful of both in today's episode, but first, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see even more clip breakdowns on the rest of the Twilight series from me, ma'am. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, so hit that notification bell icon and you'll always be the first to know when I'm walking down the aisle with my beloved vampire boyfriend. Vampire boyfriend. We left Bella and Edward with Edward saying, fine, I will infect you with my poisonous fire blood, but first you have to marry me. And that literally took Bella's breath away. So can't wait to see what's up with that. Don't worry, there is no wedding yet because this whole movie is a waste of time, piece of shit. Instead, we go back to Forks, Washington on a night with what can only be described as biblical levels of rain and meet a young youth, scrawny young man youth, who is being stalked by a vampire on his way home from a rowdy bar activity. Is it just me, or does it seem like whenever any character from the Twilight universe gets thrown around by an enemy, which is roughly every 36 seconds, the person who's thrown, their body always turns rigid and curved like a Pringle. By this third film, it's become such a predictable and, I'll say it, dumb-looking standard of the fight choreography. Like they really said, once you pop, the fun don't stop. And that's the only union-safe body shape they're allowed to make on these harnesses, I guess. And again, I feel like in Forks, Washington, if it were actually raining this heavily, people would be getting evacuated by the Navy. And then like a sensitive sailor captain would put their hat on my head and like we would laugh about it while holding hands in the mess hall. Sorry, I'm writing my own teen romance, which is exactly like Twilight, only instead of townspeople getting killed, it's me getting on a submarine. As they'll tell you on the Universal Studios studio tour, the rain machines in movies have to make bigger raindrops than you would see in nature because they need to read on camera, and these look legitimately like water balloon fight-sized water droplets. Clearly, Stephenie Meyer used the power of words to create a flawless literary universe in our heads when she wrote Twilight. But guess what, Stephenie? Now we all have the power to do the very same thing with the sponsor of today's today's video, Wonder. Wonder is an app that uses artificial intelligence to turn words into digital art. You just describe what you want Wonder to paint, like I entered Edward Cullen drinking a smoothie and got my favorite image on earth, this one. Also a Pomeranian looking through a piece of toast, and even myself with a future child. You just pick an adjective, a subject, and a situation, and then you can even add on an art style like hand-drawn, magical, which has been really popular on Instagram to create like a mythological self-portrait. I think it's fascinating how this artificial intelligence borrows references from real images found online. So I don't think AI art is a replacement for human artists, but I think it is a great jumping off point if you are an artist who needs inspiration or you're just having fun with your friends like me. I've been using the premium version because it's faster with 20+ unique art styles. Plus you get unlimited art and can remove the watermark, which I love for sharing these on Instagram and Twitter. I hope you have fun playing with Wonder and getting inspired by turning words into art. Make sure you use the link in my description below for a free trial of premium membership. Again, that's unlimited art, no watermarks, no ads, and 20+ styles. Thank you so much for bringing the words of Stephenie Meyer to life in a way that the film never quite could, Wonder. I appreciate that. Now let's get back to Edward and his human smoothie, Bella Swan. This young man is attacked, fully attacked, by the edge of a river. What a shocking start to the film. That young man is writhing on the ground with fresh bite wounds and a soggy ass, and it's not because his birthday fell on the same week as San Francisco Pride. Young twink, I'm here to help you. Is this a bad situation in your culture, or did you just get back from the Bay Area? I guess I'm in charge of the investigation because he was just chased through an entire downtown district without a single witness. I guess that whole town square didn't have the luxury of CCTV in 2010. But anyway, that's just the cold open. Get ready for some pointless dialogue, our good friend since movie number 1.
Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if I had to perish twice...
Okay, Emily Dickinson, nobody knows what you're talking about with these first line of the movie poetry readings you got here. I am once again trying to enjoy these beautiful aerial shots of Washington, but Kristen Stewart starts spitting deadpan rhymes about fire and ice. Werewolves are fire, vampires are ice. My boyfriend's so cool, I'd let him murder me twice. Like, okay, forwarding that one to your school guidance counselor. At least in this case, they give the narration some context. She's reading Edward poetry for their English final because they're both trying to graduate high school. Again, I would be like, look, we learned vampires are real, werewolves are real. I don't give a about your English class anymore. My brain is expanding beyond human means. Did you remember that Edward sparkles in the twilight light? I do like this little practical lighting effect they do on Bella's face right after they kiss, where you're like, oh yeah, he's sparkling right on her.
Marry me.
Oh, it's the first scene of the movie. That means it's time for the characters to openly state their sole motivation for the entire story arc. Edward is literally just repeating the surprise proposal that made up the final cliffhanger in the previous Twilight movie, Saga New Moon. Although New Moon was still a pretty bad movie, in my opinion, it was still exponentially better than Eclipse here. When Twilight Eclipse learned that New Moon ended with a cliffhanger, Eclipse was like, oh, is it bring your own noose, or can I rent one there? You see, Edward wants Bella to marry him before they have sex because he's old school, which I have extrapolated to mean uncircumcised. Or if he did get one, it was like an early rudimentary procedure that resulted in something he's afraid to show her. He also warns that the marriage between a vampire and a human is going to be a lot more intense than a regular human marriage. And we're all like, yeah, going to the Build-A-Bear workshop with you would be more intense than a regular human marriage, Edward Cullen. You are a very intense person. Like, borderline scary and possessive, so this is not a surprise. Oh, and as for Bella Swan, which by the way is Italian for beautiful swan, her ultimate desire is the same one that all women are born with.
Change me.
What women want.
Oh yeah, get ready to hop on the Bella Swan boat for the craziest ride so far. She's punctured all the life rafts and she's selling bootleg DVDs in the engine's boiler room. But you know, it's a her boat, her choice type of thing, so I can't judge her too harshly for wanting to say goodbye to the mortal world, goodbye to being hungry for human foods, and goodbye to my loving family and friends, because none of those privileges come with a strong enough personality type to prevent her from wanting a permanent and total life change, which will be violently and painfully pounded into her by Edward's crystal penis. Bella, being a little bit more of a normal teenager, is not so psyched on the marriage thing that Edward loves so much.
You know, 2 out of 3 marriages end in divorce.
Well, I think you'll find the vampire human divorce rate is a little lower.
Even if a vampire like Edward makes the choice not to eat humans, wouldn't it still be weird for him to fall in love with one? Like, isn't that just a type of food to you? Edward is like Ronald McDonald if he were caught dry humping Mayor McCheese in a flowery meadow. And as a method actor, you can see he's even wearing Ronald's same shade of foundation, called Ivory Death Mask. So Bella has to get back home to her dad Charlie, who's been keeping her grounded ever since she went on a 3-day surprise trip to Italy, even though that was to prevent Edward from outing himself in front of a carnival. Charlie's investigating the same continuous, seemingly never-ending string of murders and disappearances that plagues Forks, Washington. Despite his hardest police work of sitting on the couch drinking beer during the day, he seemed more concerned, to be honest, with the intense relationship between Edward and Jacob. Sorry, Edward and Bella. I hate all 3 of their names.
He's going through a really tough time right now. His dad's really worried about him. I remember when that was you. You needed a friend. Jake was there.
Yeah, Dad, Jacob helped me fix a dirt bike to ease my heartbreak after Edward left me. But surely you see that Jacob's current heartbreak is because I then chose to run literally back into Edward's arms through an Italian fountain. He's mad because I don't see him as a boyfriend, so you think I should go over there and be his good old buddy? That seems like a recipe for disaster, especially since all Bella can talk about is how badly she wants Edward to penetrate her with his off-white snaggle teeth. Like, what the f, Bella? Why does your dating history look like a fully feral petting zoo whenever the full moon comes out? That's what we want to know. She's like, there's the rabid dog who ate me out. There's the bat who lives in the belfry that's currently hitting it. All right, Dora the Explorer, you need to insulate that attic. We got creatures. We got creatures creeping. But anyway, this convinces Bella to get in the car and go and visit her buddy Jacob on the reservation. But it's not gonna be that easy.
You scared me.
You going down the reservation?
How did you... Alice.
And you're not even almost questioning your devotion right now? Okay, have fun for eternity with your super jealous and always in high school boyfriend who you can never escape. Oh, and also his adopted sister Alice with no boundaries, who will literally be surveilling your future actions and then reporting them back to him. Alice's ability to see the future just makes so many aspects of this storyline far too convenient. Being able to see the future is not a fair skill for Alice to have in this whole cast. But the only way for Bella to stop it is to sneak up from behind and snatch that PC wig off her head, for that is where the power is stored. But that's the thing, she can always predict when someone's gonna do it. So that's the paradox. It has to be a truly spontaneous act of hate if it's gonna work. Why does everyone in this movie have the same hair as the ventriloquist dummy from Puppet Masters? That's my question to the filmmakers at the Q&A. I also don't think this one shot showing Edward swiftly getting into the cab of a truck is really as cool as they thought it was going to be. It feels like the first signs of trouble from the abusive husband in a Lifetime movie. In other words, boring. I've seen it before. If you're not gonna invent an entirely new kind of spousal abuse, don't even bother putting it on camera. Like, unless you're stalking your partner in a way that creates truly stunning visuals, I don't want to see it. That doesn't make you a young adult novel, it just makes you another with a camera phone, so shut the up, Edward. Get out of my truck. But he literally, like, ruined the truck. I'd be like, this was, my dad gave me this truck. And now he doesn't even have the money to because everyone in town keeps dying and it's his fault.
Hey, did you do this to my truck?
Bella, you have to understand. Your safety is everything to me.
Jacob's not gonna hurt me.
Not intentionally, but the wolves have no control.
Edward?
Bella's like, Edward, once again, the Wolves is just what they call their high school football team. Stop using it to describe racist beliefs about the Quileute people. Edward is really feeling his colonial elitism with that freshly airbrushed alabaster paint job he's got on. What, Edward, you think your problematic relationship with indigenous people is somehow more justified now that someone brought a beauty blender to set for the first time? All it does is make your white face paint slightly more seamless and less distracting, but that's really it. Anyway, let's meet the other normie kids at Forks Washington High School. So the kids are all seniors, and Jess, played by Anna Kendrick, is getting ready to give her valedictorian speech. But I guess now, like, the Cullens are friends with the normal kids too?
I've decided to throw a party.
After all, how many times are we gonna graduate high school?
I don't know, Jasper. They might not even let you do it this first time around, since a quick visual inspection proves you to be anywhere between a 27-year-old adult and a centuries-old spirit who haunts the attic of one of those Downton Abbey mansions. That's not a high schooler. I don't even remember if they have this party that they're talking about right now, but the whole town loves the party.
At your place? I've never seen your house.
No one's ever seen their house.
Another party, Alice.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, that's what you said last time.
Yeah, remember, Alice, when Bella got that paper cut, which made your boyfriend horny for blood, which made her boyfriend throw her into a glass table full of sharp objects. But I agree, before that, it was a very boring party. So I don't know, maybe this time you can already be hurting Bella as guests are arriving for like a fun icebreaker. All of the friends could not be less consequential in this movie. Oh, but we do see Bella meeting up with her dad. They're like having their dad and daughter date right after he's having this like hard conversation with the parents of the young man who was writhing in pain at the beginning of the movie. We'll meet up with him later. His name is, I really gotta open the IMDb page for this piece of shit, don't I? Twilight Saga, Gaga, Maga, Daga. Oh, here it is, good clips. Everyone's got a name in these stupid things. Missing young man is Riley. That doesn't feel right, but okay. There are plenty of young adult stupid plot points in this movie that aren't even really worth getting into. For example, Edward is like, oh, Mr. Swan, my dad got Bella a ticket to go visit her mom in Arizona, so she's gonna go visit her mom and it's basically like her last chance to spend time with her mom before graduation, which Edward and Bella have decided is basically the date at which she will be turned into a vampire according to her wishes, even though Edward is really against it. Ironically, everyone else in the world is like, Edward's bad for you, he's gonna change you, and she's like, yeah, you better believe he will, by giving me bloodthirsty tit-sucking teeth. She doesn't say that. Let me just play the clip.
I'm just saying, if you go to the University of Alaska, I'm never gonna see you.
They have a really great science program.
Yeah, what I love about it is how broad they keep the topic of science for those interested in pursuing a specialized degree in that field. Tree science, bug science, medicine science, it's all the same to them up there at Alaska U. They've got one great program to cover all of it. And it all starts the first semester with the, you guessed it, science of mixing colors. I feel like one of the most poorly explored aspects of Bella's character is how she can be so cavalier about planning to leave behind her two loving parents in order to become a vampire, while they spend the rest of their lives, just thinking that their teenage daughter went missing somewhere with her possessive boyfriend in the Alaskan wilderness? Like, damn girl, did one of them get you the really wrong color Furby for Christmas in 1998 or what? Because she's fully out here like, okay, love you mom, see you at Thanksgiving break, when in her head she's fully thinking, Now, again, I think it's later explained in Bella's origin why she's so drawn to this mystical life. Maybe, perhaps, spoiler alert, she's a mystical creature of her own variety. But as viewers, we don't get that. She's just like, I've always felt different, and my parents are, you know, the greatest things in the world to me, and I care about when they're worried about me, but not enough to not go kill myself vampire style. Okay, honey? I'm gonna let that cannibal boyfriend gnaw on this bleeding until I say stop. Am I getting too vulgar with these? Nah, no. Bleeding They talk about that in science class at Alaska University. I'm in their science program, looking to become a scientist. All right, so Bella says goodbye forever to her mom, but secretly. So she's like, I'm just gonna miss you over the next 2 weeks, but really it's forever. Meanwhile, the Cullens, with their all-knowing powers, can tell and smell and feel that Victoria, the red-headed vampire from the trio of vampires who served as the antagonists in the previous 2 movies, she's out in that Forks wilderness, not just hunting for Bella, which is apparently still just to get revenge on Edward and the Cullens for killing her pale boyfriend. She's not just out there hunting Bella, she's also turning other people into vampires to build an army. I'm like, this seems like a really personal vendetta against the Cullen family, specifically Edward, who isn't even like the coolest Cullen. What could she do to get the other Cullens mad? Ruin their backyard Christmas light party? I don't know. So the Cullens are constantly on guard, just like guarding the woods from the red-headed girl. I admit, I don't know what's happening, but everyone needs to shut the up because my new favorite Paramore music video is about to start. When they all pose like this, how does the family of vampires choose which direction their V formation will be pointing? Is it always true north? Are they expecting Redhead Victoria to come from a certain region? And how does one of them get away with wearing light colors throughout this entire franchise? Talking about you with the white hoodie. You with the white hoodie. He's also the Cullen who'd I'd let me if I were Bella Swan. But I'm just Bonita Duck. Bonita Duckling. The kid from next door. I'm Bonita Duckling and I don't have a vampire boyfriend. Just one with eczema. Okay, Bonita, sorry. But Victoria comes a-running with that big curly wig. This time, recast as Bryce Dallas Howard. Not as, but recast to be played by Bryce Dallas Howard. You know, nepotism. Damn, now that she's getting up there in age, Pippi Longstockings is getting really good at evading those child welfare officers. Please stop hurting the counselors, Pippi. They just want to make sure you're immunized for measles. You remember Pippi Longstockings, how she's just like, I don't know, my parents died in a shipwreck, so I live alone now. It's like, cool. So the Cullens do manage to chase Victoria out of their land, just about, but then when one of them steps onto the Quileute tribal reservation, the werewolves attack, because the werewolves, if you recall, are very interested in keeping vampires off of their land from an age-old battle. And although Edward expressly forbade it, next day at school, Bella sees Jacob waiting for her. They told those extras to probably just walk up the stairs without turning around, and they were like, actually, we've waited 5 hours for this moment, so we'll be leaning unnaturally to look into the camera during every take so that we can point this out to our friends later. Of course, Jacob isn't just there to shoot the breeze, he's got a mission with wet hair and a scowly face.
Charlie said you left town.
Yeah, to visit my mom. Why?
Just checking to see if you're still human.
Ugh, I'm sorry, was that Robert Pattinson's take on Edward Cullen's impression of George Costanza doing Larry David? Like, what the f***, Edward? I didn't even know you had the ability to find humor in other people. But now you're choosing to do that and pull out the smug looks when all of us can see where your face makeup blends in with your body makeup? Like, whew. Maybe back off a little bit while you're looking like it's your first year at Comic-Con over there. Jacob is also like, you better tell your rat-faced family to stay off my land. And that's when Bella's like, what? You were hunting Victoria? That's the vision Alice had when they were at lunch lunch. And Bella was like, what did she have a vision about? I know you can read her thoughts. And it's like, see, you all need to shut up. So Alice can see the future, and then Edward can instantly read those thoughts. It's like a little internal network of nobody can ever get away with any surprises in this movie. They're too omnipotent. But learning that Edward kept this hunting of Victoria from Bella sends her right onto the back of Jacob's motorcycle, where she says, vroom vroom, daddy. They end up back at the reservation, where we meet all of the Quileute kids once again.
Are you sure this is a good idea? I am the vampire girl, remember?
Hey, look who's back.
Quill, you too?
Yep, finally made the pack.
Aw, that's so great. Did you have to like pass a quiz on how to go to the bathroom like a dog? Or was it just a matter of working up the courage to always have your nipples out while moving as a group and eating Costco chicken wings? I am once again weirded out when they make these young men act like wolf pups. Like, even the actors don't seem like they want to play into it that much. And they should be at least equally as committed to it as those guys wearing leather dog masks at the gay club. Like, at least they don't talk. These kids are always yapping. How can I pretend you're a puppy? There needs to be less terrible dialogue and more rubbing your on the walls and carpet to make them smell like you. Just saying. Somehow that's what I need to feel comfortable around new people lately. So they're gonna have to bring that to the party or I'm not watching. We meet Leah Clearwater. She's the daughter of Charlie's friend who died of a heart attack when one of the vampires, Victoria, was chasing him around the woods. So it's just another reason why the werewolf kind of vampire rivalry is reinforced. They're like, I'm a werewolf and you're vampire friend scared my dad to death, even though Bella's like, your dad had a weak heart and you should have known. You should have been there to help him with a Bayer's aspirin. Oh, but we also meet Emily, who we've met previously. She's Sam's girlfriend. Sam got mad once and her face up. That's the truth.
I was wondering when we'd see your face around here again.
Yeah, same here.
We were wondering when we would see your face again too, Emily, and whether the scars on it would look thick, plasticine, and theatrical like they did in the first movie. But what a relief to see that no, she has a normal skin thickness these days. She said, Bella, notice anything different? I'm doing double ponytails now. Oh, also I've stopped sculpting myself a secondary leather face out of the flesh-colored wax they use to preserve soft cheeses. A little too much makeup for daytime, you know? Apparently, Sam and Emily, who are now together, only got together after Sam broke the heart of Leah, the angry one with the dead dad we just saw. We have to hear about this whole love triangle in order to further understand Edward and Jacob's love triangle, whatever.
We all have to live the Leah, Sam, Emily pain fest. Wolf telepathy, remember?
So Sam dumped Leah for Emily?
Sam hates himself for hurting Leah, but Emily was the one. Sam imprinted on Emily.
Okay, you're saying the names of all of these people like they're even important in this story, and they just aren't. Wolf telepathy, remember? No, because that's not a thing wolves have. Can you at least show me a flashback to people's faces while you're talking about them? Or give them an on-screen subplot that happens during the action of the movie? Because otherwise, it just feels like your whole home life is a series of young men with their shirts off. And I already passed my 7th grade scoliosis exam. Thank you very much. I didn't pass. I had scoliosis, but you know, didn't kill me over it, so I escaped. Scoliosis survivor since 1998. Jacob then explains how imprinting goes way beyond just feeling regular love for another person and more into the territory of unhealthy codependence or even the laws of physics.
All of a sudden, it's not gravity holding you to the planet. It's her.
That's the Mickey Mouse balloon you let go of as a child, telling its story to all of the other garbage in the ocean. Bella's like, well, have you ever imprinted on anyone? You know, like slyly being like, are you saying you imprinted on me? And he's like, almost, but no. And she's like, good, because Edward's gonna bang me with his fangs in a little bit, and then I'll be Mrs. Count Chocula. And then she's like, wait, why are you not happy about it?
You knew this was gonna happen.
Not in a month. I mean, not before you've even lived, or before I could.
See what you're missing out on by choosing Edward, Bella? Uncontrolled physical aggression when you don't perform sexually. That could be you he's throwing a socket wrench at, but you keep playing games by saying exactly what you want and how you feel, even when it's the opposite of what he wanted it to be. You're disgusting. Tuh. Jacob is like, you don't want to be physically intimate with me? But why not? This is a James Mansfield plushie. Go tag her and tell her. I got her. I got her. Jacob acts like a straight up jerk when Bella is like, listen, like I've told you 2 or 3 times now, I'm more into Edward than I am into you. Can you be cool about this? And he's like,
I decided this, not him.
Bella, they're not even alive. It makes me sick. Better you really be dead than one of them.
Oh, that was way harsh, Ty.
The rest of the first act is pretty wild. Like, the little minion new vampire from the first scene goes into Bella's house and sniffs around, even though Charlie's sleeping there, which the rest of the vampires can also instantly smell. Everyone's smelling something. Also, Jacob smells it. Anyway, the Cullens know they have to get Bella out of the house for a girls' night sleepover. That's the ruse they tell Charlie, in order to keep her safe. And then, if you can believe it, the werewolves and the vampires have to actually work together to protect Bella, because she is so special that even irreparable divides between cultures seem to be falling away effortlessly in the wake of her beautiful face. She's the face that fixed 1,000 racisms. At least she's trying. Edward's not doing himself any favors.
We're done here.
No, you're done here.
Stop! I'm tired of this. From now on, I'm Switzerland, okay?
Edward's like, fine, but that means I get to be Nazi Germany. I'm not sure what game this is for, but it sounds like a good reason to unpack my old army uniform from the 1940s. Okay, your past is a little creepy. Let's keep it quiet. Let's keep it quiet. Let's keep it in the 2010s.
In the days that followed, I got them to at least try to work together. The wolves took over so the Cullens could hunt. It wasn't exactly an easy alliance.
Yeah, but I think it's still easy enough for the audience to understand without having to hear your voiceover book report about the topic. Once again, what is motivating this narration? Is she talking to me, the audience? Is she reading her English class an essay on what she did over summer break? Or did she find a therapist who has a dream catcher hung on the wall and mistakenly assumed that meant she would believe all of the stories about her vampire bullshit? That poor licensed family and marriage counselor is sitting there like, my daughter made me that at day camp, and I'm gonna go ahead and recommend inpatient treatment for you, Miss Swan. I'm sorry, Miss Switzerland, whatever. Edward has to leave Bella in the protection of Jacob so that they can run around all of Washington State and hunt down Victoria. And Jacob is like, come here, Bella, hug my naked body right in front of your boyfriend. And Bella's like, and then that night, she's brought to the tribe, and her, as well as all of the new recruits in the wolf pack, are meant to figure out, or hear rather, the history of their people. This is not a true history of the Quileute tribe. It's a much sadder and darker one. How fun.
They thought it would be good for you to hear the histories.
The tribe's histories? Aren't they secret?
You're part of this, but you are the first outsider.
If I had known that, I would have, I don't know, dressed better.
Literally everyone else in this scene is also wearing brown athleisure, so you couldn't have dressed better if you tried. I think the style mood board for Jacob's tribal meeting was soccer mom who's managing the symptoms of her depression with Cymbalta. So we met Leah Clearwater, the eldest daughter of Sam, Charlie's friend who died in the woods. But now we're meeting Seth. He's 15 and the youngest member of the wolf pack ever. He's the dead guy's from the last movie's son. It's also like, why do I care so much about someone who died a whole movie ago? I don't remember. If these movies came out 2 years apart in real time, I would be like, who is that? From the back row.
It's about time you got here. Paul's been hoovering the grub, but I saved you some burgers.
Hoovering the grub? Okay. What did I say his name was? Seth Clearwater? I'm just adding that name to the list of child characters who I want to Mortal Kombat in the metaverse one day. Technology will make it a possibility. I'm gonna sumo chop the kid from Home Alone. I also love how the Cullens are like, these werewolves can't even control themselves. Edward had to miss like a week of school when he first met Bella just to stop himself from devouring her. Meanwhile, each of these werewolves are like, yeah, we can just eat cheeseburgers and Lunchables to stay alive, but sure, I guess we're the ones with no self-discipline. Basically, the tribal elder tells the story of how Jacob's ancestors began their enemyship, that's not the word, rivalry with the Cold Ones because the Cold Ones were always killing their brethren. Also, whenever anyone gets mad in the history of these people, they just scream it real loud. Historians are like, and that's the story of the first Thanksgiving. But we're gonna hand it over to your kindergarten teachers now so they can turn all of that into something they can pass out coloring sheets and crossword puzzles about. Essentially, in order to stop a Cold One from ransacking their village, one of the wives of a slain werewolf native had to sacrifice herself, and that's the source of all nobility for these native people. Oh, rough one for representation, isn't it? Meanwhile, what's his fucking name? Riley, the newborn recruiter of Victoria, he's turning all of these hipsters in Washington into sweatshirt wearing, beanie cap having on, curly hair sporting, bloodthirsty fighters, including this little girl.
We'll find you someone to drink.
Mine!
Can someone go ahead and tell every actor that being scared and confused does not automatically mean being out of breath? It's always like, just show us with your face. I don't need to hear it in your lungs. She said, they turned me into vampire girl with curly hair. Now I'm breathing like I'm running. He yelled, mine over there. Come on. Jessie J. You know Jessie J? I changed the words. Mine! Shatter. They punch each other in the head a lot. Like, the Cold Ones are literally made of glass now. The Cullens are quickly catching on that there's this big growing group in Seattle of newborn vampires. When they're newborn, aka freshly turned, they have their strongest like hunting sense and the lowest self-control. So it's easy for them to be like swayed to the bad side when they're super thirsty for blood. And the Cullens are like, if we don't do something to stop them, even though we're pretty sure they're coming for us, the Volturi will come in and really put a stop to like all of the vampires in the area. Like, we'll all be in trouble. Those Volturi, oh, I remember them from last movie. Bella's like, I have to figure out what I'm gonna tell people when I never visit for Christmas, never come home again, never see them in the daylight, why my skin is so sparkly. And Edward's like, yeah, can you shut up? I'm trying to sleep. No, he's like, you shouldn't do it then. And she's like, I'm gonna do it. I wanna be a vampire. I'm like, really? The logistics of it seem awful. But Jacob gets her alone when they're walking on the beach and is like, I can tell that this is not the whole story. You feel something for me as well. And he goes to kiss her, which causes her to punch him in the face, which breaks her hand. I'm like, oh God, his face is that stone hard. Now werewolves are hard stone too. I don't get it. I don't get it. Is anyone made of normal bone and human fiber substance? You know, muscle? But don't worry, because the dad of the Twilight family is, you know, the blonde dad. What's his name? Not Jasper. The one doctor in town wraps up her hand. Oh, and then Bella starts getting the opinions of the others in the Cullen family who did not have a choice when it came to becoming a vampire. They were turned against their will. And Nikki Reed, who plays Rosalie, she tells the story of how she became a vampire. It was born, interestingly enough, out of an abusive relationship. Seems to be a lot of that going around this Cullen family, doesn't there?
On the last night of my life, I left a friend's house late.
Isn't she lovely, John? I told you she was a looker.
Well, it's hard to say with all those clothes on.
Well, John, just imagine a cheerleader's pom-pom, but made entirely out of skin tags. Congratulations, you've just mentally pictured my right breast. But no, the men attack this poor woman, Rosalie, and leave her for dead when I think Jasper, no, not Jasper, what's the damn dad's name? He's so good to everyone. He's so blonde and blonde. Emmett? No. Jasper? No. Still not Jasper. Dr. Carlisle. Carlisle saves her in the street from bleeding out, and she goes on a revenge spree, getting back at all of the men who abused her that night and left her for dead.
Saved Royce for last so we'd know I was coming. I was a little theatrical back then.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that theater was doing a production of Guys and Dolls, which is why we just had to sit through that flashback of supporting characters being like, oh, I'm in a suit vest, and that little one's got a pretty little hole for you to snap open like a clamshell, doesn't she, Johnny? Like, no, we need more studio oversight into these historical scenes. That doesn't feel like the right talking lingo. I don't believe that's how they spoke. She got a hot little mouth, that one, doesn't she, Johnny? Sir, this is the 30s or whatever. Old-timey hair, pin curls. Anyway, Rosalie is like, listen up, sweetie. Nobody who's a vampire wants to be a vampire. You're the only one who wants this ever on Earth. And she's like, yeah, and that's further proof I need to do it. Okay, okay. But now the Volturi are in town to keep an eye on Riley, who is controlling this newborn army. I forget if I mentioned it. He's not doing it for himself. He's doing it because he's being manipulated by the redheaded vampire Victoria. Listen to me knowing the names. She's hiding behind Riley so that the Cullens can't read her mind directly somehow. It like confuses the motives so that they can't tell she's behind this. The Volturi, however, has already shown up to town and they're like, well, we can see everything because we're just standing in the same room with it, I guess. But then, like, nobody's noticing them and they're just deciding if they even care. I love Dakota Fanning in this movie. That might be the only person that I like in this movie. I mean, she has her little Disney Channel friends who are also behind her in the Volturi, but they were adults in the last movie, so I don't know what's going on there.
We must decide.
Then decide, sister. It's time.
That was Taylor Swift trying to figure out what to post on her Instagram story after the Ticketmaster fiasco. And that kid in the back is Joe Alwyn being like, say something funny. Like, maybe compare buying your VIP package to surviving several bear attacks. Like, who didn't love The Revenant, Taylor? Who didn't? So Riley doesn't know it, but the Volturi is just about to come up on his and tear this whole plan apart. Meanwhile, the Cullens and Bella and all of her friends are graduating from high school. I guess I heard somewhere that Anna Kendrick's like graduation speech is the best part of this movie. I'm like, it's not even a good speech by graduation speech standards.
This isn't the time to make hard and fast decisions. This is the time to make mistakes. Change your mind and change it again because nothing's permanent. So make as many mistakes as you can.
Super inspiring, but definitely don't go around trying to make as many mistakes as you can because many things are in fact permanent. She said, take the wrong train, fall in love with a stranger, evade your taxes, drive through a playground drunk. And as the principal of this school, I would just like to point out that this advice is meant for those of us with white privilege. So my apologies to the 2 Asian kids and 1 black guy in the periphery of Bella's friend group. To be clear, you are all expected to behave perfectly or I'm calling the cops. Okay, thank you. So I guess Edward and the Cullens do have a graduation party. They somehow synced the lights to the music. I'm like, what? You guys are good with technology for having like just been around during the invention of the light bulb, apparently. Jacob gives Bella a little keychain of a wolf. It's like, real original, Jakey. Go home now. After the party, Carlisle is like, guess what? The bad guys are in town. I can feel it somehow. Or someone told me, or I saw them. It doesn't matter. But Jasper is like, well, I'm gonna train us all to fight them and they'll never see us coming. I don't know. I'm sure I'm missing some details in there, but who the cares? Because it goes into the like werewolf and vampire training montage where the Cullens teach the werewolves all about how to avoid getting crushed to death by their vampire cohort. Meanwhile, it's all starting to really weigh on Bella that this is all happening because of her being so beautiful and perfect that everybody wants her or everybody wants her dead. The guys want to get with her. The girls want her dead corpse wrapped around a pole under the ocean. You know, that classic thing. I'm sorry, but I can't enjoy this touching sequence in its final form because much like the marketing department, I am too busy being in awe of the groundbreaking cinematic techniques being used here.
David said, in this shot, I want you to sort of put your head down, and Kristen, you just sort of rub his head. That was not exactly what we had expected.
Yeah, we were expecting something that looked kind of cool and could pass as the emotional turning point for these two characters right before the climax. But what we got looks more like an elementary school guidance counselor comforting the 6th grader who gets way too excited to play dodgeball at gym class. Which, granted, does seem to be a genuine part of Taylor Lautner's heritage, which he's brought to roles as far back as Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Always that rambunctious little shit, isn't he? Comes back from recess all sweaty. Ugh. Rosalie isn't the only one who gives us her pre-vampire backstory. We also hear the same from Jasper, who in the first few movies was very quiet because he could barely control his bloodthirst. He was just recently quote-unquote vegetarian, but he tells Bella why he's so good at hand-to-hand combat and melee and training wolves to be vampires and vampires to be wolves.
This happened during the Civil War.
I was the youngest major in the Texas Cavalry.
Okay, first of all, that is Schrodinger's Southern accent because it truly ceases to exist whenever Jasper is not directly referencing his newly introduced past life as a soldier. And also, what a cute way for Bella to find out that her future brother-in-law fought for the Confederate Army as a proponent of chattel slavery. This family has a colorful past, so to speak, because obviously the paleness of their skin is feeling ultra pertinent lately. Like, we get it, Cullen family. You can be the extra white saviors of this story if you want. I don't think people are fighting for the role. See, Jasper was turned into a vampire by Maria, another kind of similar femme fatale figure to Victoria, who got him to basically train all of these newborn kid soldiers as a way to, I suppose, help win the war? I don't know if she's fighting the war at this point or just like loves killing humans. It's not clear to me because I refuse to rewatch the entire scene. Just this part is good.
She never let them live beyond their first year. It was my job to dispose of them. I could feel everything they felt.
So yeah, this movie franchise pretty much goes wild Thornberries from here on out, it seems. I mean, the only thing that made Twilight, which is the story of romance during a full-on race war, seem acceptable at the time was the fact that these child soldiers being killed are technically vampires. Like, aren't they still kid vampires? It seems pretty clear from Edward that they don't just become inhuman monsters the second they get infected with vampirism. I guess we'll be able to confirm it when they change Bella over, because like she's not gonna stop being an annoying idiot right away. They still maintain their humanity. Otherwise, Edward would have no reason to be a good vampire. So I don't know why they're like cracking the head of kids and they're like, great, that's not only a PG-13 movie, but we'll also sell the novels at the Scholastic Book Fair in an elementary school. Okay. And what about the problematic representation of Indigenous people? We love that. We love that for chapter books. But anyway, basically Alice and Jasper find each other, fall in love, and that changes everything for Jasper. It brings him over to the good side.
Oh, she's seen me coming, of course.
You kept me waiting long enough.
My apologies, ma'am. I don't know what I've become without her.
I think we can safely guess you would have become an enslaver of black people. So I think that we're all kind of glad that the hot lady vampires killed you when they did. And I am just forever obsessed with Jasper's accent throughout this entire film series, varying wildly between John Wayne and Wayne Szalinski, the dad from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He's like, pleased to meet you, Bella, but if you could just remember that the South will rise again, and we will defeat the Union. It's my God-honoring will to fight the Northern oppression. But also, I'm really thirsty for blood. If I could have a sip of your blood, I would love it. Like, girl, we need consistency. We need consistency, and I crave it, and I don't get it from you. But anyway, just like it was Jasper's job to dispose of the newly recruited, quote-unquote, newborns in the vampire world, why does Stephenie Meyer choose such problematic language for all of these things? She's like, the light-skinned cold ones, the dark brown evil ones, they're natives. We're talking about saving the lives of newborns, having a soul, virginity. Like, girl, you made this way too politically charged. Like, not even subtextually. It's the main text, just with different words, different proper nouns, you know? So Jasper and Edward leave Bella with Jacob because they have to battle the bad guys. And apparently Jacob's like gonna keep Bella safe through all of that. But really, I'm just like, you're just shuffling her around and now literally carrying her like a stack of paper, like she's a fucking printer cartridge from location to location so that people can have conversations with her. I'm cooked. This movie has me cooked.
You can love more than one person at a time, and I know you feel something for me.
I'm sorry, do the kids in this Twilight universe not have a word for horny yet? Like, damn, let's identify these basic emotions in less than 2 hours next time, kids. They're like, ugh, I have all of these feelings that I just can't stop feeling, and I don't know what they're called. Ugh, it's not imprinting, although it's kind of like imprinting in the sense that I want us to rub our together, but I don't know what to do because of my feelings. You want to her on a rotten log in the woods. That's what it is, and you won't say it because of the Mormon undertones in this movie. That little was my favorite new way of finishing a sentence when I don't have anything else to add.
I promised I wouldn't kiss you again until you asked.
You're gonna be keeping that promise for a while, Chief.
Okay, that felt ethnically charged, Bella. And also, Jacob, please don't kiss anyone who doesn't want you to. Don't just save that trick for the girls you're trying to impress. Also, are you literally carrying her to another country right now? It's giving Ariana Grande with her security guards in 2015. Remember that when everyone hated her? Yeah. Jasper is once again coming through with the most rootin' tootin' accent we've ever heard, only when the movie calls for it. Look at this side-by-side comparison.
How many times are we gonna graduate high school?
All I picked up was wolf stench.
Looks like somebody got those Wild Wild West sunglasses that were being sold at Burger King for a limited time while supplies last in 1999. And it also looks like that someone was me. We're going straight to the Wild Wild West. All I picked up was wolf stench. We're going straight to the Wild Wild, picking up wolf stench. That's wolf piss, Jasper. You're smelling Jacob's piss on the forest floor. Just so you know. The Wild 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 Chicky-yo Yicky Yay. Steampunk. These are real artifacts. I can't see anything. my vision. That's how it feels to be a bat. I'm Edward. Is Edward a bat or a vampire? In real life, vampires and bats are more closely connected than they are in Twilight life. Is that okay to say? Does that sound stupid? It's okay. The movie itself is stupid, so it works. This movie that is forever long somehow has time for the old birds and the bees talk between Charlie and Bella. Like, girl, your daughter has had 10 sleepovers with her aggressively intimate boyfriend. You better know they've already had sex. I mean, they haven't, but that's just luck.
Don't have the talk.
Well, it's
me,
just
please.
as embarrassing for me as it is for you.
I doubt that.
That was probably a funny moment for all the little girls watching in the audience, but I sort of think both actors are using their actual involvement in this movie franchise as the motivation for their embarrassment, so it's funny in that way.
Edward is old school.
Old school. Great. What's that, like code for something?
Yes, Dad, it means all of Edward's sex toys are made out of porous, unfinished wood, and they were carved under candlelight by an old man with Ben Franklin glasses. But no. Here we get what I can only imagine is one of the most iconic lines of the movie. Like, to me it is.
Oh my God, Dad? I'm a virgin.
Mary of Nazareth getting her family excited for the first ever Christmas. So it's the eve of the big battle, and Bella and Edward get to spend the night alone together, which you know what that means, chastity.
Anything you want, it's yours. Bella. No.
I can see how Edward is giving Bella some mixed bat signals here. At this point, I would be like, Edward, no one's talking about it, so I just need to visually confirm that vampires and human beings have at least similar looking. She's not trying to wait all the way until her wedding night to find out that it turns into King Cobra when they get vampire disease. You know what I'm saying? Also, it seems like a weird road for a writer to go down for all of this bloodborne vampire illness to be thrown about, especially since that type of terminology can be really triggering to people who survived and continue to survive the HIV/AIDS epidemic in this country and around the globe, but whatever. Stephenie Meyer is a piece of shit. That's what I'm gathering. So anyway, Edward and Bella dry hump for a moment over what sounds like the vocal warm-ups from Sia's latest album, and Edward lets on a little bit more about why he really doesn't want to f her.
I'm from a different era. We'd taken chaperone strolls and had iced tea on the porch.
Bella's like, if this is about iced tea, I've got a can of Brisk in my mini fridge. Now can you please f me for my graduation present from high school? Why is he whimpering like people aren't allowed to go for a stroll anymore? Just call it a walk. No one will think you're gay. I can say that because I can say whatever I want. There's a long expositional scene where Bryce Dallas Howard is explaining to vampire Riley why they need to defeat the Cullens, basically so that they can feed in peace. She's like, I'm so tired of being scared of not being able to hunt, and I'm just so afraid. Like, she's playing the victim. And she's also talking up a big game about how the Cullens will be able to anticipate his every move, and her dead boyfriend found out the hard way.
They'll be able to anticipate your every move.
According to your friend?
Yes. My dead friend.
Me explaining my psychic powers to other kids at recess so they'd be scared of me. This movie is so long, I'm gonna lose it. Like, I would be so tired of making this movie. I'm tired of making this video about the movie.
Something up?
Bunch of vampires trying to kill me.
Same old, same old.
Yeah, to the point where we don't even remember why anymore. And I know, personally speaking, like, I certainly stopped caring. Jacob could pick that girl up and carry her into an active volcano, and I would be like, yay, the ending was pretty good. But no, we've got a whole battle first. And Riley/Victoria's battle group, or army of vampires, vampire hipsters from the Seattle area, are coming up out of the lake in a scene that was directly stolen from Day of the Dead, the George A. Romero remake. They're like in a big utopia condo complex, you know? Why do I make references like this? Because now I know I'm gonna have to go find a clip of it on YouTube and show you what I'm talking about. I make my life hard. Not that I'm questioning their superhuman strength, but it does look like those featured extras are all struggling a bit to walk out of a very cold lake wearing their most absorbent long-sleeved shirts and cargo pants. They're all like, pneumonia-ridden. So that night, Edward and Jacob are both awake in the tent with Bella, who's like freezing to death, and they argue about like whether Jacob can keep her warm so that she doesn't freeze to death.
Forget it. She may need her toes someday. And let's face it, I am hotter than you.
This line has a double meaning. First, it means that Jacob's body temperature is hotter than Edward's, but also it means that this dialogue is worse than a demon who just sits in the corner of your room shitting on itself. Mainly because I heard legally, you can claim that demon as a dependent on your tax form. Jacob can just not help himself by being the cringiest person on earth.
You'll warm up soon. Faster if you took your clothes off.
Jake.
Survival 101.
I'm pretty sure Survival 101 doesn't advise people to take off all their clothes while camping in the snow. The new single by Fall Out Boy. I think she would only want to take her clothes off if they were wet, but just to be clear, I have never taken any survival course. I'm just a they who has previously spent the night with an adult Eagle Scout, and I'm just sitting in this plastic chair telling you what it looks like from here. And it looks like fake news. Leave your clothes on, Bella. Don't be tricked by Shark Boy and Idiot Boy. There's a whole long conversation here about whether Jake and Edward would be friends if they weren't fighting over the same girl and mortal enemies. I'm like, ugh, I would still be your enemy no matter what, because you two suck.
This might sound odd, but I'm glad you're here.
Meaning, as much as I'd love to kill you, I'm glad she's warm.
Oh no, sweetie, I'm pretty sure Bella died a while back due to how long and boring this windy conversation is. I think your extra high wolf metabolism is just working to keep her body limp and unfrozen. So, oh well, you lost. The next day, Edward intentionally lets Jacob overhear that they're planning to get married, and that sends Jacob off running. He's like, I was gonna let him suck the blood out of your vagina, but I'm not gonna like when he marries you over it. And to stop him, she's like, kiss me, okay? So they kiss, and then she goes back to Edward, who can read thoughts, so he knows that they kissed. And she's like, I don't know what came over me.
I don't know what happened.
You love it.
I love you more.
I know.
Bella, I'm not the mind reader here, but it seems like Edward is willing to keep things at least a little bit open in this relationship. He's like, hey, the more the merrier. Let's get you a Lady Gaga meat dress and invite Wolfie over for some skirt steak, you know what I mean? Edward can see what's happening somewhere else in his mental, he's reading the thoughts of Alice, and he knows that the wolf vampire battle against the bad vampires has begun. This is a really boring fight choreography for the third time in the movie. You'll hear the Wilhelm scream several times. See, that was the same sound effect, just pitched down. Same sound effects, same stunts of a wolf jumping and someone twirling. Quite a boring climax. If it's not that scream, then it's the sound of ice being shattered, which is the new sound effect for when a vampire is killed. Very PG-13 friendly that all vampires are made out of ice now. It's like the same sound effect you hear when Mario gets a coin. I'm sorry I keep bringing up Mario in different videos, but if any of you know him, please tell him I'd do anything to get back with him. He was a plumber with his own pizza oven. I don't know how I fumbled the ball that badly. Actually, I do. I slept with his brother. I'm like a pizza, just always looking for a hotter oven, you know what I mean? I'm Mae West too sometimes now, so it's a lot. There's a lot of new things to unpack for you on the audience side. Don't worry. The funniest part of this is how Edward is relaying the whole climactic battle to Bella, who is just sitting there in the snow, uncold and listening.
She knew you'd be with me.
She found us.
Okay, well, I'm not just gonna sit here while Edward has his own private visions and then dictates them to Bella as pure exposition. Who would like to join me for a hike up this mountain? And then I'm going to barrel roll myself off of its most jagged face, but you know, every hiker can make their own choice there. Bring a water bottle. It doesn't take long before Riley and then Victoria both find Edward and Bella. And basically, Riley can go and kill Bella right now and end this whole thing, but Edward manages to be like, you know Victoria's just using you to avenge the death of her true love, right? Who we met in the last movie. And he's like, no, I think she really likes me with her really well-conditioned wig. But then, whatever werewolf, Seth I think, was protecting Bella comes out and he takes out Riley. And you know Victoria doesn't care because she like barely does anything. It becomes clear she was manipulating Riley and using him as a pawn this whole time. Oh my gosh, this literally feels like the scene from a video game. See, watch again. I've heard enough of these ice sounds, but luckily there's only one more. After an intense hand-to-hand combat between Bella and Edward, no, Edward and Victoria, he snaps her head off like a little China doll from the Oz the Great and Powerful movie, and then they burn her corpse. And then all the Cullens are burning all of the corpses of all of the enemy vampires. It seems like all of them survived. Like, they just killed a bunch of vampires that they were outnumbered by, except for one, which gets a hold of Jacob and hurts him.
Jacob!
Ooh, they got away with some pretty unfortunate editing in this franchise, didn't they? They didn't show us any of Jacob's wolf to human transition there. They might as well have just cut back to him in his gray sweatpants and his hooded morph suit. The rest of the werewolves gather round and pull Jacob away. They're gonna try to fix him, but the Cullens have their own type of trouble. The Volturi descend upon them. Again, Dakota Fanning is the fierce diva queen of this movie franchise, and I love the Volturi. Both her and her young gay twinks who back her up. You can tell she's like pretty ruthless as a overlord as well. Not just because she kills that little girl who was brainwashed, but also because she uses extra words.
It appears we missed an entertaining fight.
Yes. It's not often we're rendered unnecessary.
If you'd arrived a half hour ago, you would have fulfilled your purpose.
So, do all vampires talk like they're trying to flaunt that they have a master's degree in screenwriting? What in the polysyllabic f are we even talking about, Dakota Fanning? She's not exactly fighting off that precocious little girl typecasting with this one. Were we, baby girl? It's okay, I love her. So whatever, the Volturi are mad that Bella is still human when they literally in the last movie were like, you need to turn her because she's immune to my pain powers and I want to see what happens when she's a vampire. I'm like, I do too. I hope she shuts the up, but no. They let her go. They're like, oh, okay, you have a date set. It's gonna be after her high school graduation. They're like, I'll respect the laws of high school graduation, but first let me kill this little girl vampire. It's like, but aren't you a little girl vampire? Nothing makes sense. Later that night, Bella goes to check on her boy Jacob, who has been injured in a vampire hug.
Hey.
So, how's Jacob doing? Not good. Carlisle's like, I keep breaking his bones into place and then they heal super fast, and I keep giving him morphine, but it burns off super quick, so he's just sort of raw dogging this injury right now. He's really suffering some bone pain. And Bella's like, great, I'm gonna go get him hard. And basically in this conversation, Bella admits that she does feel a sense of love for Jacob, but she never knew what to do with it. So, you know, feelings admitted, I guess, but there's a lot left to be explored in the second film, which we only know because it's set up so perfectly by Edward in this flowery meadow where we began.
August 13th.
Yeah. It's a month before my birthday.
Bella said, imagine getting married and having babies after reaching legal adulthood. Ugh, so not creepy enough. Like, where's the harmful power dynamic? Who's gonna buy that book? You already know Alice is gonna be the wedding planner of the century. She's who's gonna plan this vampire union.
And so you're gonna let Alice plan the whole thing? Dress, the reception, the guest list. I mean, who knows who she's gonna invite?
I already came up with funny scenarios for that question in my video for New Moon. Fine, here's some more. She'll invite, Professor McGonagall wearing a jockstrap. I don't know. Go rewatch my previous video for funnier ones than that, okay? I'm tired. Edward, at this late stage in the game, is still not sure why Bella would ever want to become a vampire, but she makes it very clear in a way that's very hard to understand.
Because I'm not normal. I don't want to be. I've had to face death and loss and pain.
You're right, that is super unique of you to go ahead and have those nearly universal human experiences. You've earned this. You deserve to have Edward's demon seed grow the no-soul Antichrist inside of you. Edward, rip off the condom. It's time to get in there. Why can I say that? Why can I say that? It's crazy that I'm allowed to say that, but whatever. Not complaining. Straight to the wild, 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 wild west. Oh my god. What's she gonna say now?
And I want to tie myself to you in every way humanly possible.
So we're gonna start with rope, pretty basic, but then we'll graduate to Nerds rope. And after that, Twizzler pull and peel. Sorry, I just feel like I saw a 7-Eleven on the way here, so visually the candy aisle seems like a good place to start. And that's when Edward puts the ring on her finger that looks like a hornet's nest. Ooh, sting me, sting me. Can you guys believe that we're done the midway journey of this pointless waste of time franchise? If I had nothing to do for a full long weekend, this would be a good way to spend it. Watching 6 2-hour movies. I mean, there's 5 2-hour movies, but I would watch my favorite one twice. I would watch the first movie at the beginning and at the end. Bookend it. Anyway, I'm feeling delirious and I can't see a thing with these glasses on, so you'll have to let me know how you feel about the events that occurred in Twilight Saga New Moon. No, we're on Twilight Saga. This is the Twilight Saga Eclipse. Twilight Saga Eclipse. Oof, the words have lost all meaning. Let me know what you feel in the comments below, and I will get ready to give you more Christmas content throughout the rest of the month of December. Let me know what you want to see next and what I should look out for in the final 2 films of the Twilight Saga. So give this video a big thumbs up if you want me to get to those ones extra quick, but most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, so turn on notifications and you'll always be the first to know when I've got a new moon to saga with you. Oh, also I've got merch available and a Patreon where you can access exclusive bonus content and virtual watch parties where we watch full-length movies together. It's super fun. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you so much for snapping the ice necks of child soldiers with me today. I will see you next time. Mwah! Saga!